territories of the Sechelt Nation. I'd like to call to order the District of Sechelt annual meeting for Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022, and it is 3:03. And I'll first ask if there's any declaration of conflict. Seeing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved, seconded, all in favor? Okay, we'll move on to, we're going to do things a bit differently. We'll receive these reports at the end after we have any questions from staff or from council and public. So I will move on to item 3, business items. And so item 3.1, 2021 annual report, and I'll turn it over to Director Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to be able to introduce the 2021 annual report to Council and Committee and the community as well. 2021 continued to be a bit of a roller coaster ride due to the COVID-19. And, you know, it's still in the community, still in our work environment. And so we had challenges. We had to modify our work schedules and allowed for working from home as well as working in the office. Although we seem to be constantly faced with challenges and changes in 2021, we were able to achieve a lot of items that have been on the books for a while. And I think the team is very proud of that. As you read through the 2021 annual report, you'll see that many of Council's strategic goals and priorities have seen achievements in the year. And, you know, we try to highlight those in the annual report. And today we have organized short presentations from the managers and from union staff. After each short presentation, there'll be a short question period for questions to be asked. And we hope to just go from employee to employee and hope you enjoy that. So the first person up would be Executive Assistant Julia Wood, and she'll be talking about human resources.
Thank you, Director Douglas. Good afternoon, Council. So as David mentioned, 2021 was our second year of the COVID-19 pandemic, and with that came some challenges as well as many successes. In the Human Resources Department, we adapted our 5-year staffing plan to ensure the needs of the organization were met and that all departments were well supported. As a result of that staffing plan, we created 6 new key positions, which we were able to fill. In total, we recruited for and staffed 100% of the 18 open positions throughout the year, despite record high employment rates and the housing crisis posing barriers to recruitment. We remained informed of the changing public health orders and ensured that we met or exceeded mandates in order to keep our staff healthy and safe. In support of our staffing plan, we continued developing a training calendar to fill competency gaps and further staff's professional development. Company culture and employee engagement were fostered by wellness initiatives like physical activities, team building, staff appreciation events, and virtual holiday celebrations. That concludes this high-level overview of the HR department's annual report. I will pause here to allow for questions from Council. Thank you very much. Council, is there any questions? Oh, can we move back to the screen as well? Any questions from council? Seeing none, I will introduce our communications manager, Lindsay Vickers. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. I guess I will put it on the right slide. So communications played a big part in relaying COVID-19 information and changes, the writing and communicating out to the public as well for the safety protocols that came and the changes that kept on coming. It made for interesting challenges and new endeavors, and the department continued to find different ways to engage with the community while respecting social and physical distancing. Many community initiatives and engagements took place online. So while communications usually does things in person, we had to kind of revamp and rethink how we were doing things. Some of the major highlights and projects and engagements include something that did take place in person, and that was the Sechelt Airport Runway Improvement Celebration with over 200 people in attendance. We also support as part of communications, we support district divisions on specific projects like the anti-grease campaign with the WRC, launch of the website redesign that we're working on with IT, and we introduced the organics collection with engineering. And we helped re-envision the farmers market and expanded it into the municipal hall parking lot to allow for physical distancing. Some quick numbers, overview. We wrote 117 news releases in 2021. Our Facebook reach was up by about 69%. Instagram was up by 127%. And our Waste Wizard and app download was up by 399%. And most of that was because of the new organics and waste collection system that we rolled out. Are there any questions?
Can we get council back up on the screen, please? Thank you. Any questions from council? Looks like I can't see Eric. Oh, he doesn't have his, thank you. Oh. Councillor Scott, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious on the Waste Wizard app, like, so up 400%. What is the total download of that? How many times has it been downloaded?
I will have to get back to you with that number. I'm sorry, I didn't write it on my notes today. A few thousand, but under 5,000.
Any other questions from council? Okay, doesn't look like it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to invite up Arts, Culture, and Communications Coordinator, Siobhan Smith.
Thank you.
Hi, there we go. Hi, thank you. I'm going to be presenting 4 slides that will highlight our activities in arts, culture, heritage, and grants in 2021. So the vision and council strategic plan is for a more sustainable community which provides an exceptional quality of life for all residents. And this is why I aim to ensure that all of our arts programming and all the grants that we distribute do enhance the quality of life for residents here in Sechelt. An example of this was the COVID-safe drive-in movie night at Hackett Park. In a year that we had nearly no public events, we were still able to pull this one off, and all the proceeds were donated to the Arrowhead Clubhouse. Another of Council's goals was to pursue federal reconciliation recommendations, and we did this through work with the CEIA reconciliation movement. In 2021, we launched the film Becoming CEIA, And we also applied for funding to host National Indigenous Peoples Day events that you're now being able to participate in this year as See Yaya Days. It's also a goal of Council to enhance community livability by improving accessibility and affordability. And in 2021, we started work on the accessible public outdoor stage in Hackett Park, and this will be open for community use after the July 1st celebrations. Another goal of Council is to improve management of our assets. And in 2021, we undertook the major work of indexing and digitizing the district-owned Helen Daw collection at the Sechelt Community Archives. It's approximately 110,000 documents. Just thankful I wasn't the one scanning them. Continuing the work of enhancing community livability, we also awarded grants to 24 local organizations through our Community Investment Grant Program and another 17 projects through the COVID Safe Restart Grant Program. And just wrapping things up here, another goal of Council through the strategic plan is to support community arts and culture initiatives and to support art in public places. And in 2021, we commissioned and completed a new mural at Hackett Park. And we also hosted 9 outdoor free concerts through the summer music series and awarded contracts to 5 local artists for various community art projects such as art wraps and street banners. So as you can see, there was a number of ways in 2021 that arts, culture, heritage, and grants were able to help achieve Council's goals. So I'd like to open it up for questions at this time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is there any questions from Council? Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm now going to turn it over to our Community Services Coordinator, Lucy Clark.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and Council. Community Service had a busy year in 2021 with bookings, considering we're in the middle of a pandemic. Rockwood Lodge, Seaside Centre and Mission House facilities did stay open. We supported the local non-profit groups and community members needing a safe and physical distance space to host their meetings. All facilities were cleaned daily and adhered to the BC provincial and health guidelines. Seaside Centre was also occupied by Vancouver Coastal Health for 6 months for the Community Assessment Centre. In July, we implemented a new facility booking software, Booking. Here, renters can view the online calendar, select a facility, date and time, and reserve a space. Once a reservation is received, we will confirm the booking and then send rental documentation together with an invoice. Payments are also able to be made through the client portal online. This has been proved to be quite successful. Community Services worked with the Sechelt Downtown Business Association and the Farmers Market to help to create community events that utilise district facilities. Oktoberfest was held at Rockwood Lodge in September, and we had over 700 people meeting outside. There were local food and beverage vendor trucks together with local musicians. Rockwood Lodge also gets decorated for the holiday season. At the end of November. We then host Light the Lights with the Mayor, who then switches on the lights for our downtown. Bright Nights is also another event we host. Families come to Rockwood Lodge and meet with Jolly Old Santa in the dining room and enjoy food and beverages, again, put on by our community. We too also work with the Sechelt Farmers Market and have brought the Farmers Market inside to Seaside in the winter months, and this will be an ongoing event throughout the year. This is the end of my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions from Council? Councillor Rowe?
Just a comment and a question, just since we have so much staff here. I want to put out a thanks especially to Lucy and the Parks Department since 2020, working with my other hat, Vancouver Coastal Health, and being able to get the Respiratory Assessment Centre going in no time flat and then carrying on as we ebb and flow in and out, and then ending up having it be our main site for immunizations. I'm not sure the community knows the degree of work that the staff put into all that, so I want to recognize that. Thank you very much. And just the rental bookings, Mission House, 329, is that 329 days?
Individual bookings.
Individual
throughout
bookings.
the whole year.
So there might be 2 bookings on one day?
There could possibly be
Okay.
2 bookings on one day.
All right, that's like, those are pretty spectacular numbers, and that Mission House looks great with all the renos that have been done.
Thank you.
So well done, thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Corporate Officer Joanne Frank.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Joanne Frank, and I'm Corporate Officer with the District of Sechelt. Corporate Services is responsible for the corporate and legislative aspects of the District of Sechelt, and we provide support to Council, and as well we provide administrative support to the other departments. You will hear today summaries of projects from all the departments, and Corporate Services plays often a support role in those. But a couple of highlights that you won't see anywhere else is sort of our 2 bigger projects over last year was implementing the on-base records management system. We are basically switching our entire filing system from one method to another, and that's been sort of over a year and a half now that we've worked on that project. We're getting closer and closer to completion every day. We also took on another project of doing an extensive digitization of all of our permanent records. So these are paper records that we're going to have to keep forever, and right now we store them in a archive trailer actually on Public Works land, and so we think it's important to get all of those digitized, and Council agreed with that and provided us with some grant money to complete that project, which was basically to send over 275 banker boxes to an off-site location who are currently, as I say, scanning and uploading those documents into our system. A couple of other sort of highlight projects that we did last year was we conducted the public process required to enter into a new 5-year downtown business improvement area bylaw, and that was completed. The bylaw was adopted, and that project was completed earlier this year. We also collaborated with the Sunshine Coast Regional District on submitting a grant application to UBCM to complete an emergency preparedness plan for Tawanik. And about 2 months ago, we were advised that grant was approved. So the SCRD is working away on that now. And just some statistics related to our department. We published between regular council and committee of the whole agendas. We published 60 agendas, produced them and distributed them to the public, and then prepared the minutes from those meetings. 25 bylaws were adopted by council last year. 21 contracts or leases, agreements, those types of things were all signed and completed. Last year, we adopted 9 council policies. Council adopted them, but staff drafted and prepared them. And we received 141 requests under the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act for records and documents. And that's our report, if council has any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, is there any questions? Doesn't look like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. And now if I may introduce the Manager of Financial Services, Beverly Smith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. So the Finance Department's 3 key areas of focus each year is budget, audit, and taxation. It's the district's responsibility to ensure that these functions are completed within legislated reporting requirements, timelines, and meet the high standards set out by our regulators, taxpayers, and stakeholders. Our 2021 audit results had a clean audit opinion and another year without the requirement for a management letter. And for context, a manager's letter is prepared when, through the audit process, there are findings and recommendations for improvements for internal controls. In 2021, we drafted the 2022 operating and capital budgets completed by the end of December. This allowed staff to start planning earlier than previous years. In 2021, taxation continued to be busy for front reception staff and for those supporting behind the scenes. The province of BC changes to the homeowner grant process saw a high volume of personal visits and phone calls, more than we've experienced in previous years, and staff continued to promote the My Sechelt portal for taxpayers interested in receiving their tax notices online. As part of the website redesign, the district purchased an online platform that supports the procurement process. The department added the role of a procurement coordinator to the team. This role manages all the competitive bids as well as working closely with the finance team and with the project managers to improve reporting standards and provide timely information for decision making. The district supports continuing education and learning. In 2021, the finance team saw successfully completed programs and certifications from payroll compliance, accounting certificates, procurement training, and continuing education towards financial professional designation, as well as professional development for those staff that are already designated. Cross-training opportunities between roles and software training sessions are a couple of the ways the finance team supports succession planning, and by giving staff an opportunity to learn new skills, enhance development, and allow them to experience different roles within the department. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation. I'll be pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, is there any questions? Can I get council back up online? Thanks. Thank you. Is there any questions from council? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much.
I'd like to now introduce our manager of IT, Hash Mannequin.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Council. 2021 was a transitional period for the Information Technology Department. In Q1, the focus was recruiting a new IT manager. In Q2, we had no internal IT staff, so we really relied on Opus managed service provider for help desk and maintaining our IT infrastructure. In Q3, we hired myself as the IT manager, and in Q4, we hired a systems analyst. The focus for Q3 and 4 was knowledge transfer and learning the IT environment. Of course, it has to happen, IT. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Redesigning websites. So we started the RFP process in late 2021. That was completed. Redesigning the district website, the archives website, the arts festival website, and we'll be developing a brand new employee and council websites. Council meeting audio video upgrades. In 2021, short-term issues were resolved. We also selected a vendor through the RFQ process in late 2021. Audio-video upgrades will be completed in late 2022 due to supply shortages. Cybersecurity is always a high priority for IT. We work closely with the federal, provincial, and local governments. We also pushed out our annual training and monthly training through our security awareness training program to all council and staff. Some analytics to look at. Our district website, we had over 92,000 visitors to our website. And as you can see, those are our top 6 most popular web pages. We had 124 spam emails blocked per day, and we've had over 1,200 help desk tickets submitted to IT. That doesn't include project work or upgrading applications. So that's my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you. Council, any questions? Nope. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce the Manager of Planning, Ian Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Council. So 2021, like other departments, was a very busy year for planning. Everything from development applications reaching a variety of different milestones, obviously continuing into this year as well, but everything from the Trellis long-term care facility to new rental buildings proposed as part of the EBTIDE and TELUS projects, as well as community services and Green Court facilities. We also had some significant policy updates with the affordable housing and community amenity contribution policy, replacing an old, outdated policy, as well as a new OCP consultation policy and a road naming policy. As well, there was a lot of work regionally in which the District of Sechelt worked closely with SCRD and Town of Gibson's on a variety of intergovernmental projects ranging from the housing needs implementation report, dealing with transit planning, and starting to get into some regional growth and watershed governance projects, as well as within the District of Sechelt itself, doing a lot of work on the proposed new zoning bylaw number 580, as well as the related short-term rental project. And both of those obviously continue into this year as well, but throughout 2021, making significant progress on everything from development applications to district projects, and supporting our neighboring local governments. Would open it to any questions from Council.
Thank you. Council, any questions for planning? Oh, Councillor Lamb?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we have an update on where Green Court is at. Are we still waiting for more government funding for that?
It's my understanding that that is the case. I think they, the discussions with the province may still be ongoing, though my understanding is that they will be trying to come back, but with a reduced number of units based on the funding changes.
Thank you.
So then, if they come back with a new plan, then do they have to go for a new development permit also? And go through a new building permit process again?
That'll depend on how drastically the reduction in units changes the building. We would hope that they would be limited enough that we could at least do a minor amendment process to the development permit. But we won't know for sure until we see the full scope of the changes.
Wow. Thank you.
Any further questions for planning? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to then introduce Bylaw Enforcement Officer Ann Nicodem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Good afternoon, Chair and Council.
So 2021 in the Bylaw Enforcement Department, we maintained our staffing level of 2 full-time bylaw enforcement officers. In early 2021, we hired a new officer to replace an outgoing officer, and my new partner has brought a lot to the team. We are both certified animal control officers, and we both continued to upgrade our skills throughout the year. In bylaw enforcement, as always, we were primarily complaint-driven, and that is guided by council policy. Priorities were health and safety first, community impact, and then general nuisance complaints. Our main goal, as always, is to achieve voluntary compliance. 2021 was a busy year for us as well in bylaw. We saw an approximate 20% increase in the volume of bylaw complaints, with the most common complaints being parking complaints and then noise assistance, which is a catch-all for anything that doesn't fall into a specific bylaw, then dog complaints, and then public places. Those are the top 5. As usual, we've seen a trend in the challenges related to homelessness, so that tends to take up a large amount of our time and resources through 2021. That is my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Council, is there any questions for bylaw? No, thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to introduce Chief Building Inspector James Nihas.
Thank you, Ms. Nicodem. The Building Department is responsible for the administration of the building code and the building bylaw for the District of Sechelt. 2021 saw a huge increase in the number of permits issued from the year before. The construction of those permits was more than 2.5 times that from 2020, which was 18.9 million to 48.8 million in 2021. Of this, tenant improvement construction value was 1.6 million. Tenant improvement permits are a priority for the building department. In 2021, a guide to Part 3 building plan review was created. Those are buildings which are more than 3 stories in height or have a building area, which would be a footprint of more than 600 square meters, as well as certain types of occupancies, such as restaurants and care homes. The guide lays out the steps to be used when a building official does the building permit application review and is intended as a legacy document for the department. The building officials continued their education and gained higher levels of qualification to apply the requirements of the building code as per the general regulation for the Building Act. By the end of the year, the building department started implementation of an online building permit system called Cloud Permit, and the digital plan review component, Bluebeam, by which an applicant could not only apply for a building permit online, but submit drawings, documents, and pay for the permit fees online as well. Both systems were operational in 2022. The building department met the challenges of unprecedented growth in the district in 2021 and is well positioned to meet the challenges of 2022. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, any questions? No, looks like you're free. Thank you so much.
May I introduce Mr. Sanath Bandera, the Manager of Municipal Construction and Infrastructure Renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Nath. Good afternoon, Chair and Council. I'm here to provide a brief presentation on completed capital projects in 2021 and the key highlights. 2021 has one of the busiest year on record for engineering, with the completion of 2 major projects, 2 multi-million-dollar capital projects. Trail Avenue Phase 1 include between Cowrie Street and the Surf Circle, Phase 2 will be completed in the future date through grant opportunities and will extend from Surf Circle to Turnstone Drive. The projects include the multi-use pathway, both sides, pedestrian control crosswalk, and LED lights. And the project cost is nearly $6 million, funded through development cost charges and sewer reserves. And this is looking south at the Cowrie Street intersection. On the left is pre-development and the post-development on the right. The other major capital project is the Sechelt Chapter Runway project. The works included the runway resurfacing, extension, and lighting at future date. Project cost $3.2 million, funded through BC Access Program and gas tax. These are aerial pictures, pre and post-development construction. Other highlights, all 2021 capital works projects were completed without additional burden to the taxpayers. And also, Sechelt staff applied for grants, include a COVID-19 resilience grant for $3.18 million secured, design and construction work underway, scheduled for 2022. Multiple other grants applied for, including Wakefield Lift Station, West Purpose Bay sewer expansion, and Inlet Avenue improvement, which is secured, and construction will start this year. Thank you. This is conclude my presentation, and time for the question and answers.
Thank you. Does council have any questions? No, thank you so much.
Thank you. I would like to call upon for the next presenter, the engineer and project manager, Julie Mears.
Sorry, Councillor Lamb, you have a question before you?
Yeah, I just, so the work at the airport, the extension of the airport has been done at no expense to the taxpayer. Is that correct? It showed 2 grants. And then the lighting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then the lighting is, how are we paying for the lighting? Is we hoping to do some logging there and the funds from the logs to pay for the lighting?
Through Chair, yes, it's correct. There's no tax burden to the taxpayers. It's total came from the BC Access Program and the gas tax. And the lighting is also gas tax, and working on this year to complete lighting.
Awesome. That's great. Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council and Chair. I'm new. I'm the new project manager. I started at the end of November, so my time in 2021 was quite short. I actually grew up in Sechelt and was a summer student in the year 2000 and 2001, so it's been great to be back to the community. Some of the key milestones for 2021 was the design of the Ops Center. I know you guys are well aware of this project. Some of the highlight spaces are new RV Sani's dump station, locker rooms with showers, and EV charging stations. We're scheduled to move in late April 2022, and we're going to keep a close eye on the schedule, knowing the challenging times with trades and products. Thank you. Yeah, 2023. Some of the project highlights of 2021 that I started and continuing on in 2022 are the chemical storage modular units at the WRC. So this is where we safely store our chemicals that are currently stored inside of the building and need to be stored in a safer spot. We're continuing to work on the Snicket Park washroom and tourism improvements, and you can see that photo on the left-hand side. Supporting parks where I can with the Hackett Park projects. We're working on the Wakefield lift station. Some of the other key components are the municipal hall facility planning and repairs of the building. We just completed some works on some of the failing infrastructure on some of the roofs in our community. And we're starting to look at the Quarry Park design in West Sechelt. Thank you. That ends my presentation. Are there any questions?
Any questions from council?
Great.
Questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would like to introduce next the Manager of Development and Engineering and Sustainability, Megan Lee.
Good afternoon, Chair and Council. Here we go. So development interest was very active in 2021, and engineering provided technical reviews and guidance for prospective and in-stream development designs. 4 new servicing agreements were executed, as well as the management of in-stream construction developments. The Sewer Commission was reinitiated, and that will also provide guidance in order to move the liquid waste management plan forward. The Reclaimed Water Feasibility Study was undertaken to guide future planning, and the Transportation Master Plan was started. The Asset Management Program was initiated, which aligns with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities guidelines. The Asset Management Steering Committee was created to guide the program with cross-departmental representation. An organics collection program was rolled out, diverting the organics waste stream away from landfill, as well as strengthening our community sustainability. Automated waste collection was launched, improving curbside collection efficiency. And engineering staff responded to 75 public inquiries, 160 service requests, and 170 street light requests. Thank you. That concludes the engineering highlights. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councillor Lamb, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I I don't see anything there on the lease on the Dusty Road project, or, you know, or I shouldn't say project, the Dusty Road facility there. You know, whatever it was, we're down, I think we got 9 years left on the lease. The last time, you know, we talked about it the very first term when we came into this term, like the 4 years. And I realize you folks are new, but, you know, the discussion on this started, I'm going to say 7 years ago, or 6 years, you know, 7 or 8 years ago. So, you know, at one time we had 17 years, now we got 9. Mm-hmm. So, and it's an important part of our infrastructure. So it'd be just nice to see that it's on the agenda someplace, and that it might be in you know, the next presentation. But I just want to keep it on the forefront. Thank you.
Yeah, so absolutely. There weren't any deliverables related to that completed in 2021. Some background research was done, and I'm currently working with the manager of wastewater to move that forward for the next step, which will produce a plan. So that's certainly on the radar, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other follow-up or any further questions? I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce the Public Works Manager, John Devison.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Glad to be here to do this for you. We had a busy year, 653 public works and facility service requests, because facilities come under public works also. We removed 15 dangerous trees. The photo you see there is the public works staff. It's done twice a year. It's the Davis Bay Sea protection wall. It's where the vendor parks in the summertime, because as you saw this past year on the coast, when we get king tides and high winds, we kind of lose the highway. We've got a new dump truck this year, which we changed up our specs a bit due to safety and of our crew and stuff, and less wear and tear on our truck. We got the single axle with a front plow. Our other ones have belly plows. They can't come off, and they get damaged in the summertime when we're running road base and rock and stuff like that. The last one was a $7,000 repair. So this one comes off and goes to bed for the summertime, no damage. Maintenance all year round. Past year, we had our atmospheric rivers, which we saw quite a few of our roads get washed out, but I made a few phone calls because I hired a few contractors, and our local contractors are fantastic. They jumped right in and helped us out. We had our Christmas and New Year's snowstorms, so that's where me and my guys were plowing the streets while you guys were opening presents. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Council, any questions? Looks like you're clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to introduce Jamie Anderson, Parks Manager.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair and Council. Like every department, it seems that Parks had a busy 2021. The first slide here shows our Parks utility vehicle. In 2021, the Parks Department took delivery of a new utility vehicle. Many areas of our 34 parks and over 22 kilometers of trails are inaccessible by conventional vehicles. So the addition of a utility vehicle has been a welcome addition to the Parks fleet. Just something to note, Council did approve the purchase of the V-Plow and the Salter attachments in the 2022 budget, and delivery is expected before the winter season, which will help us keep some of these sidewalks and new bike lanes clear. Hackett Park upgrades, funded through the Tourism Dependent Communities Grant in the amount of $300,000. Upgrades to Hackett Park include an amphitheater for viewing performances at the new Hackett Park stage, a new playground to be installed in the fall of 2021, as well as a new mural on the outside of the washroom building with graffiti-proof or graffiti-resistant paint on the inside of the building. 2021 saw a lot of extreme weather events, as the Manager of Public Works mentioned. We had the Heat Dome event it was about this time last year, and we had severe water restrictions last summer, so a lot of the district sports fields suffered greatly. And going into the fall season, we had 2 of our 4 fields closed, and they required a complete reseeding. But I'm happy to report they're recovering, and hopefully the fall season should be going ahead as normal. Parks actually works very closely with arts and culture to support a lot of community events. And although the pandemic initially reduced a large number of these public events, 2021 did see a return of many of these events. And as you can see, the park staff always seems to get into the Christmas spirit, and the Yeti is always a crowd favorite at our Parade of Lights. We do a lot of the decorating around town at Christmas, and the staff really get into it. That concludes my presentation, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you very much. Council, do we have any questions for Parks? Tom, Councillor Lamb?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I'm seeing more planters as we upgrade, along Wharf Street. I'm just wondering, once again, it seems like the staff come in and put in, plants that are, they blossom for each season. And I'm just wondering if, it just takes so much staff time to do that. And I, once again, the planters look spectacular, but it takes, I can just see that in the near future, we're going to need a couple more people or else we'll have to start getting volunteers to taking care of different parts of the grounds. I'm not really too sure how we do it, but anyways, any thoughts on where we go with that, Jamie?
Well, through the chair, I would say we actually spend about a week for the seasonal turnover, just maybe a week to 2 weeks for the seasonal turnover of the annual displays. There's actually only 12 planters down Cowrie Street. There is some display beds around City Hall. They have been received quite well through, public feedback, but I guess that's something we can look at in the future if staffing levels don't keep up and we're stretched thinner. That's something we can always look at.
I think you guys are stretched pretty thin right now, but I just see, Trail Avenue, with the upgrades there, there's planters there. And, once again, my favorite facility is the Water Resource Center. Whatever that infrastructure is worth, 30, 40, $50 million now. It'd be nice to keep that thing upgraded. So, but thank you, Jamie. You guys do a great job, and the town looks great. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions before? Oh, thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Anna Agnew, the Chief Wastewater Operator at the Water Resource Center. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Anderson. Good afternoon, Chair and Council. I would like to present some highlights from 2021. The most notable being the atmospheric river in November. The WRC received its highest flow ever of 4,932 meters cubed versus the average flow of 2,300 meters cubed. That's over double our typical flow. The operators stayed on site for 40 hours prior and during the event, manually operating and making contingency plans as the storm progressed. It was quite the challenge and accomplishment for the WRC operators. During an unprecedented event, all the wastewater flow was treated and there were no equipment failures. Fats, oils, and grease, commonly referred to as fog. We spend a lot of time and money removing fog at the 9 lift stations and in the 50 kilometers of collection main we have. This is a photo of an operator in the Watermark lift station working to remove the fog. Fog blocks the wastewater flow, increases wear and tear on equipment, and can be a culprit of offensive odors. The best way to address fog is prevention through education. The WRC has 4 fed batch reactors. They do the bulk of the treating the waste by reducing ammonia, total suspended solids, and biochemical oxygen demand. There are 610 membranes in each FBR. These diffuser membranes provide the dissolved oxygen for the microorganisms. Each year, the operators have replaced the diffusers in 1 tank. Operators perform the confined space entry in compliance with WorkSafe BC regulations and follow district occupational health and safety policies. Pictured here are operators in FBR number 2 completing the work, and on the right doing a practice rescue. The wastewater operators are continually working towards higher certifications. These are our operator certificates showcased on the wall at the WRC. We have 3 certified wastewater treatment operators at level 1, 2 certified wastewater treatment operators at level 2, 1 certified wastewater operator at level 3, and 1 certified wastewater operator at level 4. And some operators carry multiple certifications in wastewater collection, water treatment, and water distribution. This concludes my portion of the presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Council, any questions? Councillor Lamb, do you have questions? Good. I think we are good. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Chair and Council for listening to our presentation, and through the Chair and Council, return to you, Director Douglas.
Thank you, Hannah. So just a few closing remarks, if I may, through the Chair. So thank you to all staff who presented today. And thank you for listening to each department go through some of their main priorities for the year and some of their achievements that they hit this year. Today's presentation was really only a snapshot of really what goes on out there, and we do encourage council and the public to read through the document, because I think there's a lot of good information there about each department and what they do annually, or what they do and what achievements that they make. And throughout the last 2 years, of the changes and challenges that staff have had to face, our staff have been really adaptable and resilient to all these changes brought about by COVID-19. So we like to build on the momentum of 2021, and continue focusing on teamwork, streamlining, enhancing our services, and yes, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank everyone who did their reports today and the work that went into this report. On behalf of council, we appreciate everything you guys do. It's pretty amazing when you hear just a little snippet, knowing that there's a ton more that goes into this, and our community is very lucky to have you guys working. So thank you. So I will, I guess, open up the. Oh, sorry. Do we have a question, Mayor Seegers?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you to the staff who presented. I know some of you have never been before council before. It can be a little daunting sometimes to, step in and step up and do this. So thank you for doing that. Thank you. We, as Councillor Kuster said, we really do appreciate what you do. And I can tell you that all of council read the annual report, because I've seen, the odd grammatical error things being sent in. So, I mean, we've read it in detail. And as Director Douglas said, this is just a snapshot of what you've done over the year. And there's much more in the annual report. Thank you for coming and presenting. Thank you for introducing yourself to all of council.
Thank you. So I guess, Councillor Toth as well.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies that I wasn't able to participate more fully up to now. I was attending my daughter's grade 7 graduation, and then sort of we all went out for lunch afterwards. But I have been listening to it, and I appreciate the work that the staff do, not only in putting together the annual report, but putting together the presentations to come present to council, that the community can watch this on YouTube in 2 or 3 months' time and can see the sort of things that our staff do. It's easy when you're driving around town to see that, a pothole's been fixed recently, or that the planter beds have been changed over. But to see the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like the IT infrastructure upgrades, if it's clearing out residuals in our sewer facilities, that's not stuff that the public gets to see ever, except at these reporting periods. So I just wanted to sort of echo those comments of thank you for presenting.
Any other further comments or questions? Okay, does anyone in the gallery have any questions or comments? No? Well, then I will, I guess, look for a motion from council to receive all those reports. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Ms. Frank, is there anything in the emails?
No, Madam Chair, there isn't, nor is there anything in the Q&A portion of the Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will look for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Moved, seconded, all in favor?